Hi and welcome back. My name is Kayleen. If you don't know me, I'm the urban homestead artist and I'm from Victoria. I live in the Yarra Valley and in Melbourne, Victoria. And I have got a very flourishing edible garden going in my garden, and it's all grown organically using permaculture principles and other principles that look after not just the earth but also our bodies. So today we're going to go outside and harvest a new edible that I have tried because it was given to me and I ate some and I loved it. So I put it in the ground and it's taken 12 months to get to this stage. We're going to go out there and take a look and see how much I get out of there and talk to you about that plant and probably make some discoveries that I didn't anticipate. So let's jump out there. Welcome, and let's go do a power hour together. So this is the day I've been waiting for a long time. I'm going to harvest something that took me 12 months to grow. That is absolutely delicious. And I'm hoping and praying that it has worked. So let's go and check out up the alleyway and which I've been cleaning up. And if you don't know about the Power Hour Gardening Challenge, check out the playlist for that. But we've been up here a little bit, we've been everywhere actually, but in the alley just down here I have ochre growing. These little things were given to me 12 months ago. So I looked up my journal, my gardening journal, and it's listed as planting them out on the 10th of September 2024. I'm recording this on the 18th of September, so 12 months. Now I was given 28 little tubers, I think they're called tubers, rhizomes, and I planted some in the garden, or most in the garden, and some in pots. So we're going to check out how well they grew in the garden as opposed to pots, and see how many I get out of it. Now I did delve into this part of the garden probably a couple of weeks ago and couldn't see much. So, but I'm hoping today, because all the foliage has died back, that we have got food under the ground. Now you'll see that in here there is little potato, like red little potato, which I call them potatoes because they taste like potatoes, red little ochres sitting on the top. Now they are like an air potato that they've created above the ground. They can be eaten as well, but I will save those for planting because I figure the plant knows best, and if that's the cycle of them, they are good for the next year's growth. So it's been grown in my soil in this area and in other areas, but it's been grown in my soil, so it is now climatized for 12 months. So technically it should be that next year I get better growth out of it. Now in saying that, I've had some issues with my irrigation, and so there's been off times where they haven't got a lot of water, and particularly in pots. So I'm a bit slack with pots. I'm trying to get better because I'm in the garden all the time. I can tend to pots a bit more than I used to, but I'm trying to get better, but they have erratic watering. So I assume, just like potatoes, they like regular watering. So let's have a look and see how much we can harvest today. Let's go. So these here are all little tubers sitting on the top, and there's quite a few of them. So you can actually tell once the foliage dies back, that is not the foliage, they're potatoes. Once the foliage dies back, you can tell where they are because these are sitting on top of the surface. So I will put them separately, I think. That's a wise thing to do. So I'll put them here. That's the tag that you can barely see. soil life right there. Okay. There's potatoes at the back of there too. So I'm going to dig this up and then oh, there's another worm. And then I'll put the worm back under the soil. Yeah, this is pretty dry here. It's okay, but it's pretty dry here. I'm finding little baby potatoes in there, but no ochre so far. That's not good, is it? 12 months for no. Yet it's on the surface. It's interesting. This is under a tree. It's a nitrogen fixing tree, but obviously it has its own priorities as well. There's not one single ochre under that surface. The soil's nice and loose. Right, let's keep going. That's the remainder of the plant. There. Let's see if a little further away there's anything. Now I know they need a chilling time. Little tiny weeny ones. Now the one thing I forgot to mention, well there's two things I forgot to mention. One is that apparently the ochre needs a frost for the tubers to develop. So we have had frost, so I expected those to be developing underground, and once the foliage dies back, then it's ready to go. The other thing I didn't mention was the top part of that plant is edible. So when it's nice and lush, you can take selectively the parts off the top and cook those. And both have a lemony flavour. Now the tops, I was very careful not to take too much, so my harvest has not been affected by that element, I don't believe. So if I'd taken all the tops off and hadn't been able to photosynthesize, I would understand a bad result, but that is not what happened. The other thing was the tubers or the rhizomes or whatever they're called that I put in the ground. I think the tubers that I put in the ground were the ones that came out of the ground. This time I've ended up with a lot that are the surface ones. So planting those may have a different result next time. Who knows? But we will see next time round. I'm also hoping it won't take as long to get tubers. So I might try bandicooting a little bit earlier after the first lot of frosts to see that, after the first lot of frosts have been a couple of weeks, I might have a quick look at one of the plants after that too and see. But the top spuds, if you like, as opposed to the ones in the ground may give me a different result. We'll see. I'm surprised the animals haven't taken the top ones, although I think they're enjoying the passion fruit at the moment, the banana passion fruit more than anything. Oh, I finally found one under the surface. First one I found under the surface. There's little ones, but there's tiny things in there. I don't know if they're even worth. I might just leave the little minuscule ones in the garden. Okay, so I am finding a few as I move away from that tree, and they're small, but they're getting bigger. That is it. Now I've got some here. I'm going to dig it up off camera because it's starting to rain. This is the section that I've just dug up, and that soil, I will deal with that straight away. I will add some maybe blood and bone or some manure or something to that and mulch it so it's ready for the next planting, and the soil which I've disrupted is covered. But here is our result of what's growing in here. Now it's in two sections of my garden and in a few pots. So this is under another tree. It's under a bottle brush as well. as I moved away from the tree roots, we got the bigger ones. Now this is ideally the sizes they should be. So you can see that most of them were very tiny in comparison. I mean, this return is probably a bigger lot than I was given in the whole lot, so it's still multiplied what I had, but obviously it doesn't like the competition of the trees. Now that is something that I deal with in this area, but it hasn't stopped me growing here because I still manage to grow things. So the lesson here is that even if it's a nitrogen fixing tree, it doesn't necessarily mean things like to grow right near it. The roots still need a lot of water in particular, and air, and it may be robbing all of those things from the plants underneath. And being a root crop, that didn't seem to be that happy there. So I've managed to grow bulbs and they have flowered, or some of them have flowered and some are due to flower. So I've managed to grow them right near it. But other things have struggled. Even the comfrey hasn't grown that well. I've got it growing on the other side of the alleyway where the soil was just like really hard, and it's still quite happy there. Not as lush as other areas, but still quite happy. But right near that tree, against the tree, where I like to plant them against the tree, it hasn't thrived that well. It is very sheltered, and the water has had more trouble getting to the soil there. So maybe it's a water problem, maybe it's a tree problem, maybe it's a combination of both. But let's see what the containers did. It's such perfect weather right now. Well, not perfect, but it's windy. We have really, really gusty wind where I just go and hibernate. There's not much you can do, everything blows around and in your eyes. But today is a little bit of wind. It's meant to be a cool day, but it doesn't feel that cool. We're starting to get the humidity, I think, of spring. So the girls are just waiting to get let out, so I'll let them out, and then we will find out how many ochre we have in the container. Good morning. Say hello. Come on. Say hello. Hello. Get used to me touching you. Hello. Hang on, which one's the little one? She has bounced back so well. I'm so pleased. She's getting more game, more courageous with the others, aren't you? You're in there with the others now. Almost can't tell the difference between them now, which is good. All right, let's go down here and take a look. I've got to find the pots that have the ochre in. Now this is one of them. Now I'm not sure how much soil I had in there, but it's only half full now. So we're going to come down here and we'll tip it out into here. Now you can see the growth has died back, and there's little tiny ones on the vine that's left. So, but let's tip it out and see. Pop it out, just like an ice block. Oh, hello. Could that be the reason? Let me bring you in closer. Look at that. They love the roots of plants, and it seems the pot is full of them. What a good time to be let out, chickens. About to get a feed. This might be more chicken feed than ochre. Oh, that's probably why. Look at all the worms though. The worms are having a ball in there too. But these little critters, which are in abundance in my garden, in the soil, So here's the thing, if your neighbours have beautiful lawns for these things to jump on, which they love to do, they poison their lawns so that they don't, where do you think they're going to move to? They're going to move where there's food and no poison. Now obviously my chickens don't have access to my pots, so they can't dig out, oh sorry, worm. But look at all the worms. Look at this soil. It's just full of worms too. So we're always looking for the positive. We have one, my friends. So far we have one. And the count for worms, or not count for worms, well, we're not counting worms, the count for bugs as opposed to ochre is way higher. That one was one of the ones on the top. There doesn't seem to be any in here. I wouldn't have planted many, but I don't think I've even got as many as I would have planted. My goodness. So, should we call this video harvesting chicken feed? I think that's more appropriate today. Okay. These are the little ones on the top survived, obviously because these can't get to them. These are coming from the top, not from inside. They're coming from, because I've turned this upside down, they're on the top or just under the surface, like just. Okay, it's left beautiful soil. Now that's almost worm castings. Look at the colour of that. I mean, most people that have pots are trying to replenish their soil, put new potting mix in all the time, but this is what happens when you use different methods for your pots, which I'll share in another video because it's, I'm sure most people don't know about how to do that. And it literally turns it into a soil that will host plants really well, but also grubs by the looks of it. Worms and grubs. So here we are. This is how many came out of that pot. That, my friends, is why there was no ochre. I'm sure of it. So let's watch the chickens fly. I love that. Watch this, they know the word. Look, girls, buggy bugs. Buggy bugs. Ho ho ho. Buggy bugs. You ready? Are you ready? Oh, did you see one I dropped? Oh, did you see that one? Oops, other side. Hang on, let me get it. There you go. Here we go, enough for everyone. They're in there. Watch where I threw it. Did you get them? Come on, you can't have eaten them all that quick. No. They must have. Oh, there's one. I try to be fair. I try to make sure there's at least 4. Try and throw them where each one gets at least one. If you throw one takes off and the others follow. And it feels so unfair. Okay, it took a bit of a hunt to find. Once it dies back, it's hard to see. So it's lucky I had that. Well, I didn't have this one labelled, but lucky there was some growing, that they do grow on top, because then you can recognise that that's where they were planted. Now this pot has got itself a self-sown parsleys. So I've got plenty of parsley, but I'll try and preserve those little plants. I'm just getting rid of the weeds because I don't want that in the soil. It's a bit of plastic that's flown in from somewhere. I'll try and take that inside to get rid of that. So you can see they're here. Now that one is either cracked open or something's had a go at it. It's trying to grow, look. But obviously something has been trying to eat that. That could even be slugs, but yeah, who knows. But that's on the top surface of that. So, and there's one that's escaped, tiny, but they've escaped any nibbles. But let's turn this into the container and see if there's anything in it, even for the chooks. All right, I had labelled it, but the marker didn't work, obviously. Okay, let's just take it out and away. Very different soil in this smaller container. Not sure what I used in this, but oh, there's a slug. That will be what has been feeding off this. I don't think there's anything in here. Oh, a little bit. Tiny weeny. But nothing else. Look at that. Now, there's the original plant and not many from it at all in the little container. The only thing that's really thriving is the three little parsley plants. So I will throw that slug to the chooks. Buggy bug. And thank you very much, they said. And then I will mix these soils in together, because obviously the parsley plant one isn't as nice or as moist. And then I will fill that back up again. Without the bugs in it. Worms can stay. And then the parsley plants can go back in. And this might be good for a pot to bring up and down or in and out the house for kitchen garden parsley. Okay, let's put this little one back in, see what happens. Chuck it right in deep and then see if anything happens with that little baby ocker. Well, here's another one. Let's throw that in too. 2 little ockers. I'll make a note of it. We'll water that in, and then that soil can go somewhere else. Oh, look. Oh, looky, looky, looky. Mealyworm, soldier fly larvae. Now I say, oh, look, because, oh, there's another one. They're obviously eating rotten stuff in there. Could be even the rotten tubers once they get attacked. But if I wanted to start breeding them for the chickens, I've never seen them in the soil before. So there you go. But I'll just give them to the girls too, the tiny little things. Here you go, buggy bugs. Oh, I've had a bit of a fruit salad today. Worm salad. Okay, so that's our pathetic little harvest. I'm not sure if I've got it anywhere else in the garden. I don't think so. I think that's all I got out of it. More than what I put in, but smaller than what I put in. All the tubers were a bit bigger. Not as big as the biggest one, but bigger than what I harvested out. But let me show you something about plants, right? Some things might struggle, but there's always the exceptions that, and lots of exceptions that just thrive once they get going in your garden. So they've had 12 months. I'll put a couple of the bigger ones in the ground again and see what happens. I'll pick a different spot up maybe and try again, because they are delicious and I really would like to grow them. But have a look at this. I need to show you this. Can you see that plant there? That is carrots that have self-sown in the lawn part. Now, when I say the lawn part, this is the grass part that I don't plant into. And the chickens get to free range in here. Now, at the moment, they're behind the fence over there. But I moved the fence around, so this gets highly grazed by the chickens. They graze it down to dirt, then I move the fence, they do the same, and they keep doing that. But they do not like parsley or anything that tastes like parsley, which is carrot tops. So they leave the carrots and the parsley alone. So I know wherever there's that growing in the garden, they're not going to touch that. And so I have got carrots just thriving in the ground here, in highly grazed ground. Admittedly, they would be adding manure around it as they graze, but there is carrots in there. They're not ready, I don't think, to pull out yet, but yeah, carrots growing in there. And I'll show you one other place. Now, I can't imagine anything coming out of this attempt to live, but behind here is a carrot growing in the crack between the wall and the concrete, and it is such a fine crack. Look at that. Can you see that? Hang on, there. There's hardly any gap, but it's growing in there, and it's found its little spot, and it's probably about an inch wide, the top. So it's taking up every bit of room, and I assume trying to grow a root under there. Now, this will likely just go to seed and not grow much of a carrot. But if I collect the seed from that, I would say that's going to be the most robust carrot seed you can get. If it's prepared to grow in a crack, unwatered, I don't water it, it's growing there under the shade of the passion fruit, so it's, getting sheltered from water, between concrete with no air, hardly any air, then that is going to be some pretty kicking seed. So this is our harvest, precious little things. So that is really not worth me cooking them. I'm going to plant them again, and I'm going to give them a dedicated large tub I've decided, a really large tub. Make sure the soil's nice and deep enough that if the grubs get in, they've got plenty of room. While I was there, right next to it was the yukon, so I picked a few tubers, just some small ones, but they'll be nice to eat. And the little potatoes that have grown pretty much from potato skin, because it's been when I trench composted there quite a while back. They keep growing little potatoes. I don't let them grow on much bigger than that. I use that space for growing other things, but they're still quite delicious to eat. Yeah, it all feeds us, doesn't it?